I love that I'm starting this episode with a bottle of Basil Hayden's and a cocktail because no, it's not Friday, but we're gonna need it, and I think that this is just really important for the vibes. Let me go get my Diet Dr. Pepper, which is what I'm mixing with my Basil Hayden's, and then we'll get into this episode. Hi everyone, welcome back to Open Dialogue. Jenay, you may say, it's literally only 4:45, so why are you making a cocktail? It's not even the end of the workday yet, technically. Well, it is for me, okay? I've had a little bit of a hard day, and I guess we'll utilize the check-in topic for the day to be, one, we're in a recession, which I'm pretty sure everybody already knew, but two, it's like impossible to find a job right now, you guys. I have been looking high and motherfucking low, and it's still so hard to find a job. I've applied to literally over 70 jobs. Well, I thought you had a job, Jenay. Yes, I do. Okay, I do already have a job. That's not what we're talking about here. That's not the point.
That's not the point.
Okay, don't bring it up again. The point is I'm looking for more opportunities. I'm looking to expand my skill set, expand my career. If you're my employer, please stop listening right now. That's our check-in topic, and actually funny, like little caveat to that. I had an interview earlier today, and the guy, and please tell me that I'm not alone and somebody else has had this happen. Guy on the interview was like, okay, so the position is looking for 5 to 10 years of experience. I'm literally 26 years old. Where would I have 10 years of experience in this field? I was like cracking up. The guy was so nice, so I can't even drag him, but he was like, we're looking for, ideally 5 to 10 years of experience. Do you have experience in media buying and setting up media campaigns, blah, blah, blah. Mind you, I work in digital marketing sales, you guys. I work more in the growth aspect. So I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm not the one that works on campaigns. It got to the point, you guys, it literally got to the point of no return where I was like, did you look at my resume? And I asked him transparently, which this is a girl boss move. Do this next time you feel low-key embarrassed. I was like, what about my resume really resonated that made you select me for this job or like to want to interview? Because from what he was articulating, you guys, it did not seem like I fit the bill, if you will. Okay, like I was honestly embarrassed. And this man is like shuffling papers or something. Mind you, we're on Microsoft Teams as well. His camera's off, which just a pussy move all around. I feel like if you're on a medium or on whatever, Zoom, Google Meets, Microsoft Teams, whatever, and you have your camera off and the other person has it on, what is wrong with you? Like, what are you hiding? I don't get that. I really don't understand. I think it's so rude when people leave their camera off, but like everybody else on the call has it on. So you're a serial killer. Just state that. And he's like shuffling. I can hear him moving around. It sounds like he's like walking through New York City while trying to connect this interview. And he's like, I'm just trying to figure out, any other questions that I need to ask you. It was clearly not in the cards for me. So needless to say, we're having a drink. I don't think I'll be getting that one as I am. Quite literally, it seemed like it was like I was interviewing to be a lawyer or something just completely out of the capacity that my resume suits. So I'll be revising that later as well. But we're back to the drawing board. If anybody here knows anybody, has any hookups, let me know, because the girl's open. She's wide open. She's ready. So that's our check-in topic, is that the job market is trash, and I will still be doing what I'm currently doing, which is perfectly fine. Thank you guys for your support. And again, if you guys don't follow me on TikTok to hear more of these story times or more in depth on my job hunting adventures, make sure you do that as well. Anyway, if you're watching via video, thank you so much. You can always watch our full episodes on YouTube as well, if that's the medium that you would choose to watch them on. I'm really excited for this week's episode, you guys. Thank you for bearing with me for venting within my check-in topic. Clearly, I was wanting to vent today and just vocalize all my frustrations when it comes to the job market. Let me know if you are a fellow millennial looking for another career opportunity, and if you found it equally as hard within this recession to find anything. However, let's dive into our topic today. It's going to be dating. We're going to talk all about the world of dating, what that is like in 2022. I have a few subpoints and questions to ask the audience today. And of course, I'm always wanting to hear your guys' feedback. So swipe up to our stories, comment on our posts. I always put our clips on TikTok or on YouTube Shorts as well. And you can find our full episodes there. But I would love to hear what you bitches have to say, because I know you guys have messy dating lives. I know you have other situations as well. Not actually going through it, like currently my relationship's lit. So has gone through it, I should say, in the past. The first one that I really want to dive into is, how dating in general acts as a means for us understanding ourselves / exposing you to yourself in some way. So obviously, and I don't know if you guys believe this, I'm underneath the belief that everybody is a mirror to us. Everyone you meet in your life is like essentially you, not projecting, but it is like your projection onto other people is often a sign of how you feel about yourself or idealisms that you have, and it helps you expose yourself to pieces of yourself that need a little bit more attention, need a little bit more love, need a little bit more just time to best understand. So the question within this piece in understanding how people mirror us or how relationships have helped you mirror yourself is, what are some of the biggest lessons that I've learned about myself from each person that I've dated? So context within this, I've dated 3 people, or I've had 3 boyfriends in my life, and I do think each of them have really taught me different pieces. So we'll go through each of them and understand what pieces are the biggest lessons that I've learned about myself from each of them. So without further ado, my first boyfriend. My first boyfriend in high school, his name was Sebastian. Shout out to you. I doubt he's actually listening to this podcast. We're still friends to this day, so there's no ill will at all there about it. I think something I really learned about him, which you guys tell me if, you know the saying where people are like, oh, you date your dad, or you end up looking for your dad. My dad's a Capricorn, Sebastian, also a Capricorn. I tell you, it was definitely like that sort of you date your dad vibes, because he's very curly. He's literally an atypical Capricorn, and I'm sure if you ever heard this, you'd be like, oh, her and her astrology bullshit. It's so true. He is that type of Capricorn. Either way, I do think that in a lot of that, that was the relationship that I felt the most, that I was like begging for someone to like me. And it took a long time, like years, I feel like, for him to feel the same way I felt about him. And ultimately, of course, that was the demise. I'm a Libra. I don't want to have to chase you forever for you to then reciprocate the love that I show. So ultimately, I think a lot of what I learned in that was like my people-pleasing tendencies, was like bending over backwards for somebody, that not that they would never do that for me, but that I would give up a lot of pieces of myself or betray myself to be liked by this person, to feel wanted by this person, to be feeling as though I was like good enough for him. And I think that there's a lot of different ways. He was also older than me, like by 4 years, so nothing crazy. But I wanted to feel like cool and secure and like the girl that had that older boyfriend. And I wanted to feel like within that relationship, I was valued and that he really was into me as much as I was into him. And I think because I was into him so much, he made me feel like I had to work so hard for him to get to that same capacity that I was. So something I learned about myself, and that was a bitch is a people pleaser. And I've said this in episodes before, which I should say reformed. I'm no longer. But for a long time, I was a people pleaser, and I really would just go so far out to make people like me. It would like ruin me if someone didn't like me or if someone felt a way about me, which now I'm like, please, that is literally, again, through understanding that everyone's a mirror. Everyone shows pieces of yourself, like, or pieces of themselves in you, that it really is more of a you problem. It's not a me problem, trust me. So that was what he taught me. My second boyfriend, who I'm currently dating now, funny enough, is hilarious, but I think that he taught me the deservedness of love. For a long time, again, another idiom, I do believe that we accept the love that we think that we deserve. And for a long time, I didn't feel like I could accept his love, or like I couldn't give myself fully to him because I didn't feel like I deserved the type of love he gave. This man treats me like a queen, like the ground that I walk on. Like, it just was almost overwhelming to where I didn't feel like I deserved that type of love. Like, it's almost like thinking that you, like, say you have that fairy tale in front of you. It's like believing that it's too good to be true, but also believing, like, why me? I would constantly, even to the point, guys, this is like embarrassing as fuck now to say, but I would ask him, like, why me? What about me? Why don't you want to date somebody else or date somebody richer or prettier or more established, because I met him when I was 18, all of these different pieces, and he'd be like, bitch, none of this matters to me. And I would still question it after years and after so many just things in life that I never was really at that place to accept it. So he really taught me that deservedness, and that I didn't need to work excessively hard to earn his love or to gain his love, but that it should be inherent in a relationship, and that yes, we should work at our relationship, but never to the point where I have to prove why I'm lovable to him or prove my value to him. He just inherently saw me for who I was. And again, I was very young in that relationship. There was a lot that we had to go through of ups and downs. I'm still trying to drag him to come on the podcast because I think he'd be a great guest, but it really took a long time for me to understand and to believe that value, to believe that I was deserving, to believe that I was valuable enough to be in that relationship. And again, it all came back to my belief in myself, and how I was treating him was a direct reflection of the lack of value that I saw in myself and the lack of basically understanding that I have with myself. So it didn't work out, of course, for a long period of time, and it was tumultuous. Now we're together and it's lovely, and I'm so happy that it became serendipitous and that we were able to, I should speak for myself, that I was really able to bridge those pieces, because again, y'all, I really put that man through the ringer. So I have a lot of gratitude there. My third boyfriend that I had dated in the interim, and this is the one who cheated on me. So we're going to have an episode on cheating, because I think that's its own show. We need to talk about how cheating really fucks you up in more ways than one. Not you fucking him up, but like how it genuinely mentally fucks you up, and in what ways. Because I think there's such a stigma around you get cheated on, or you get cheated on and taken back. But there's so much that goes into it just mentally that, again, even me from the other side, not having had been cheated on at that point, really did not understand. And now being on the other side of it, it's just like mind-blowing. It's kind of insane that I'm like, holy shit, how did I ever have those belief systems? But until you go through it, bitch, how do you know? How do you know? You don't know. So he was basically somebody who, again, I kind of felt like I defaulted back to those initial behaviors of people pleasing. Y'all, I would do such crazy shit when I was dating this man, and not even crazy to him, just crazy when I look at it in regards to myself. Again, everyone is a mirror, but in the behaviors I had and like the stuff I defaulted to. I remember I used to literally he was really big into talking about what I ate and like my weight and things like that, and like I don't want to drag him. He's his own person, whatever. Like, it's his business, his own issues. He has his own issues with like body and health and things like that, and food a lot of the time. But he would really get on to me if like I would eat Chipotle, or like if I wanted to go get a McFlurry or things like that. And mind you, I'm not eating it every day. I'm not sitting here gorging myself. Like, it was well within reason, but I used to put those things in like our wastebasket outside, like the trash can outside, so that he wouldn't see them. Like, it was to that level where I really had to finally face the music and be like, bitch, what are you doing? Like, why are you letting him have this much effect or control on how you view yourself and how you think about yourself? Like, I didn't think I would wear sweatpants every day. Not that I don't now. Shout out to my sweatpants. But like, I wouldn't be getting ready. I thought I was always fat, always ugly, couldn't work out enough. My relationship with food was way worse than it had ever been. Like, there were so many pieces where I had to look up and realize the person that I'm dating is the direct correlation, again, of what I think I deserve. And I just didn't deserve it anymore. Like, I never deserved it, let's be frank, but I definitely did not deserve that capacity. And it took a long time to realize that, through all the shit, through all the thick and thin, feeling like I was a ride or die, which fuck that. Fuck being a ride or die. Never be a ride or die for a man. Like, truthfully, if he's putting you in the position where you got to ride or die, run, girl, run. It's not worth anything, because it's just, he should never be compromising you or putting you in those positions, just like I don't think you should be putting your man in those positions to where, like, he needs to fight for you and all this XYZ. No, absolutely not. So there was a lot of stuff there that I had to address, that I needed to come to terms with. Dating does act like a level of exposure to us, and it does it does have a lot of mirroring effects and things to help us best understand ourselves, and ultimately why we make the decisions we do, why we date the people that we date. If you have a cyclic pattern of dating douchebags and trash people, you need to look inside yourself and think, why do I feel like I deserve this? What about me innately believes that this is what the best that I can do? This is where I'm at. This is the capacity that I can date. And then work on that, sis, because you need to sit with yourself. It should never be, or bro, whoever you are, it should never be something that you accept about yourself. So the next piece that I really want to go into is understanding the influence of the male gaze, the ever-present desire to be liked by men, even when we don't really like them, even when we're not even into them, and how we mold ourselves to that. So I told you guys in one of my last episodes that I had just read Emily Ratajkowski's My Body. Amazing! If you haven't read it, why the fuck not? Please pick it up. Seriously, it's such a good book. It talks heavily about the male gaze as well, and how we do adapt ourselves as women to the male gaze. How we will manipulate ourselves and mold ourselves to the looks of men, even if we're not attracted to them, even if they're old and crusty. And we do it in so many capacities that I don't even think we realize. With our male bosses, with random men we see passing by on the street, with the male cashier that smiles at you. Like, it's almost an ever-present urge to want to be liked or to want to be perceived as beautiful and valuable. And I think oftentimes in our society, we don't even realize how much it affects the way that we date. Because once I took the mentality of like, I need to like you. I not only need to be attracted to you, but I need to like you as a person. I need to think you're cool. I need to think you're interesting. I need to think that you are, worthwhile, or someone that I really even give a fuck about getting to know. All of those pieces, once they aligned for me, I realized how much before I had let that people pleaser tendency, that people pleaser Jenay, just overrule, where I would be doing shit for guys that I didn't even care about. You guys, I shouldn't say did not care about. However, I would basically, okay, we're going to do a story time. We're going to do a story time. Story time. So I was on Hinge, just like everybody else, as you know. And I would meet, guys on there. I'd meet people that I was interested in, whatever. But one specific guy, I'm not going to say his name because I feel like it could be a little bit too, I don't know. It could get a little bit too close for comfort, if you will. So this guy that I started seeing, we actually never had sex. It was very whatever. We'll get into that. It was very platonic at first, and then he used to always tell me, like, you're too high maintenance, you're too this, blah, blah, blah. I would still actively, and this is like a medium ugly guy. Like, this is not some, like, super hot. Like, this guy was very average. I would be doing backbends, you guys. I would make this man dinner. I would get him food if I was going out. I would always go to his place of work and hang out with him. Like, I was doing the most. At one point, I literally was out with my godparents having lunch, had him come too, got him takeaway food so that he could bring it to his brother. Guys, this man had the dirtiest house I've ever seen. I finally got to a place where I was like, Jenay, it's been 3 months. Do you even like him? Are you not embarrassed of him? Like, it got so deep. We do not ask ourselves enough, like, do I even like him? Am I even interested in him? I truly think that we as women and as a women in our society want to be perceived so bad as sexy and smart and seductive, and we want every man to like us, and we want to feel that there's value there, and it is just rampant. And for so long, this is probably until, this was like 3 years ago, so, or maybe whatever, 2 years ago, however long ago. It wasn't even like I'm not saying that this was like, 5 or 6 years ago. This was like, not recent, but you get what I'm saying. That it's kind of crazy to see how much your mindset can change, but also how much it really did influence me at the time. And that's why I think sometimes it's so crucial to not be on dating apps or take a step away, because again, you're only seeing surface level of these people. I see their profile and a few random fucking prompts, and then it's like you feel like it dictates how they see you and how they perceive you, and it's much more important. But in reality, like, no, we need to make sure that we like them, and we need to make sure that we're not just letting how they perceive us affect how we dictate ourselves and how we look at ourselves. So I think the last kind of piece of this puzzle, as far as the dating puzzle goes, is really just demystifying the world of dating at large. We put so much pressure on women, I think, specifically to be chosen or selected by men, and dating the right person feels like an immensely enormous task. And learning not to let men that you're interested in feel like, they dictate how you function or how you operate in yourself. Not letting it dictate how you date and ultimately how we see ourselves. That dating is not that serious. It should be fun. It should be reckless to some degree. Of course with consent and of course, being responsible. But it should be one of those things where we're able to have fucking fun with it. And you're supposed to learn. Like, you're supposed to grow. I think people put too much pressure, especially in their 20s, to like settle down and get married and have kids, which is so yucky. It's so disgusting. You guys should be able to date and understand yourself in regards to other people. And also, I shouldn't say yucky. No shade to you if that's your life. And if you want to be one of those people that like gets married at 19 and has a baby and like does it, it just personally couldn't be me. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that we need those formative years, or like your 20s and your 30s, and just dating in general, to be more fun and to be more exploratory, so that it gives us more of a window to ourselves and how we relate to other people. Also, you can know what the hell you actually like and what you're really looking for. Me now at 26 is so different than the Jenay at 18 or 21, and just how I should say, really operate, and ultimately what I'm looking for, what I'll put up with, what I'll even give my time to, all of those aspects change. But I would not be where I am if I didn't ever date anybody, or if I only dated a certain type of man, if I didn't, date around, if you will. And I don't think it's as serious as people think. I think the fact that people think you're like a whore, who cares? Who cares? I think you should do what you want to do, when you want to do it, with your body. And I also think that it's really exploratory and good for you to know what you want and to understand what you want. So dating can be definitely hellacious. Dating can be annoying at times. Dating can definitely be difficult as well because it takes a lot of time. That was probably my biggest grievance with it. But I do think it's really important in how we figure ourselves out. And I think that there's not enough emphasis on how much it helps you explore personally and how much it helps you grow personally. So if you have any funny dating stories that you want us to share on the pod, if you want to ask for any dating advice or have us give you any of the above as well, whether it's stories from me or any of my potential guests, I'm so excited to do that. Of course, you can always write into opendialogue.pod@gmail.com and give us your dating stories, or swipe up to our stories, or connect with us on TikTok or YouTube at opendialogue.pod. So without further ado, we are very excited to have our next guest on, and we will catch you guys in the episode next week. I look forward to an amazing conversation, and thank you so much for listening to Open Dialogue. Bye, guys.